Please keep in mind with workplace violence that if you feel that you have been a victim or that you have observed workplace violence, that you feel free to follow the complaint resolution procedure, which will be explained in the sexual harassment training. Next is employee gun use. We follow the state law when it comes to employees being able to carry a firearm for their personal protection. It is prohibited within the Justice Court and the Police Department. Additionally, with regard to using a gun, police officers, prosecutors, judges, the Justice Court Administrator, SWAT medics, and other authorized fire investigators who have firearms training are the only city employees authorized to use deadly force while acting for and in behalf of Sandy City. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Human Resources. Next is tobacco use. In order to maintain a safe and comfortable working environment, tobacco and e-cigarette usage in city offices, facilities, and vehicles is prohibited. Because the city may be subject to criminal and civil liabilities for violations of applicable smoking laws, the city must insist on strict adherence to this policy. Employees smoking in any non-smoking area may be subject to disciplinary action. Please feel free to contact Human Resources if you have any questions. Next is a drug-free workplace. So it is the policy of the city to create a drug-free workplace in keeping with the spirit and intent of the local governmental entity drug-free workplace policies. See Utah Code. We will be doing drug testing as per the Utah State Code for pre-employment, promotion, random drug testing for safety-sensitive employees, reasonable suspicion, and post-accident testing. Random drug testing for safety-sensitive employees, you may be called upon at any time to random drug test, and we have provided the various locations that you can go to for your drug test. We will be following the state law when it comes to medical marijuana, and we will be updating this policy in the coming months. Workplace searches. In order to safeguard the property of our employees, our customers, and the city, and to help prevent the possession, use, and sale of illegal drugs on city premises, the city reserves the right to question employees and all other persons entering and leaving our buildings or property to inspect any packages, parcels, purses, handbags, briefcases, lunchboxes, or any other possessions that you may have. Safety and health. We take the safety and health of our employees very seriously. The city makes every effort to comply with relevant federal and state OSHA laws. So if you see any unsafe situations, please report it to your supervisor. And here we have a list of behaviors and the activities that you should be committed to. Using safety equipment which has been provided for you during your work assignments, wearing the prescribed uniform and safety shoes if required, not permitting or operating equipment or using tools for which training or orientation has not yet been received, warning coworkers of unsafe conditions or practices they may be engaged in, reporting defective equipment immediately to a supervisor, reporting all injuries and accidents regardless of severity, and taking care not to abuse tools or equipment so that these items will be in good, usable condition for as long as possible. If you do see any unsafe situation or if an alarm goes off, please take appropriate action and notify a supervisor. Hazardous condition reporting. This just explains specifically that as an employee, we ask that you make sure that if you see any potentially dangerous situations working and while you're not working, that you report it to either a supervisor or that you call the appropriate department immediately. Injury and accident reporting. All work-related accidents resulting in injury or illness must be reported immediately to your supervisor. As we talked about in the workers' compensation section, this is very important. And if you're involved in a traffic accident involving a city vehicle or a personal vehicle during city business, you must report it to law enforcement and also to your immediate supervisor. City vehicle use. If you're driving a city vehicle, you must have a valid driver's license, and employees driving a city-owned vehicle are also expected to adhere to the city's idling policy, and that there are specific conditions that can be met where your vehicle could be idling. Personal vehicle use. If you are going to use your personal vehicle for any city business other than traveling to and from work, you may be eligible for mileage reimbursement. And this goes into detail about how that works and that we comply with the IRS authorized rate. Safety belt use. All vehicle occupants must use available safety belts and shoulder restraints at all times while traveling on city business and in any vehicle that is being used to conduct city business. And we encourage you to use safety belts at all times. Cell phone use. If you have a city-owned cell phone, please make sure that you're using it for city business. Employees should discourage in personal calls. And then if you have a personal cell phone, you might want to check with your cell phone provider. You may be eligible for government discounts. Supervisor and subordinate relationships. Sandy City does not permit romantic relationships or dating between supervisors and subordinates. For purposes of this policy, a supervisor includes any supervisor within the same line of authority as the subordinate, or any person charged with evaluating the subordinate. If such a relationship develops, the supervisor involved is responsible to immediately disclose the existence of the relationship in writing to his or her supervisor and department head. Complaint resolution procedure. This will be explained in more detail in the sexual harassment training, but we ask that your first step would be to discuss this with your immediate supervisor if you feel you've been a victim of harassment or workplace violence, or if there's any other complaint that you feel that you need to make. If you are not comfortable speaking with your supervisor, the next step would be to talk with your department head. And if you are not comfortable talking to your department head, there is a list of the city attorney, human resources, or the CAO, or the mayor. You're welcome to speak with any of them. And if you have questions on the policy, feel free to contact Human Resources. The final page is a city vehicle authorization form. If you are going to be driving a city vehicle, your supervisor may ask you to fill out this form. This concludes the 2019-2020 Seasonal Handbook training. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact your supervisor or a member of Human Resources, and we'd be happy to explain it further. Thanks.